Part 2 of my best shoe in 2023. At the end of the video you can see part 1 and what criteria it requires to get on the list. Now for the 2 best recovery shoes I bought in 23. The Nimbus 25 is a fantastically comfortable shoe to run in. The upper is very similar to the old Adidas Ultra Boost, a sock-like really comfortable upper. I could say a lot about them, but I know people get tired of listening to my computer voice. But a comfortable shoe for easy runs and also daily training. At the end of the video you can see my big heart rate based data test of them against New Balance More V4 and New Balance Super Comp Trainer. Now for my second choice. There are probably some who will wonder why the New Balance Elite V3 has been included as a recovery shoe. Which is completely understandable. But the reason, which I also talk about in part 1. I never know how far I can run because of my head. And in my world this shoe is good for everything except running really fast. And if your legs are tired, it is always nice to have a shoe that is lighter compared to the other normal recovery shoes. If anyone thinks it's completely wrong, then I can just say try standing at the finish line of a big marathon 4 hours after the start and see how many Nike Alphaflys, Nike Vaporflies, Adidas Pro 3 and so on are coming. Should those who use them also run in recovery shoes instead? I'm probably just so old that I don't really care what the shoe is made for. I use them the way I think works for me. But I have a clear opinion if you want to test a carbon shoe the right way. Do you have to be able to run at a certain speed? Because most of them are made to run faster than most average runners are capable of. But I'm not saying carbon shoes aren't for us average runners. Because I think they are, but most of them are made for the elite. I'll stop the video now. Want to go for a run? It's not raining anymore. Finally in this video, you can see part 1 and the pulse-based data test I talked about. There will also be a part 3 later. I had otherwise decided not to make this video as I don't feel I have much to offer. Plus in the last period I have hardly run because of my head. Luckily I've been able to strength train. But fortunately things are going a little better. And today I did a little shoe test again. It's been a really long time since the last one. In this video I focus on the best shoes I bought in 23. It is important to mention that several shoes were released before 23. I don't care when they came out. You can clearly see this in my favorite racing shoes. I have chosen to make the video based on a shoe rotation, 2 shoes in each category. Here are my top 2 daily trainers. It is very important to mention I do not have any training program anymore. I never know how long or how fast my runs will be. It depends entirely on my head. Therefore, my choice of shoes may be a little different from others. The ones I run the most kilometers in should be the most fun and protective. So that's why I run 80% of my runs in carbon shoes. Not because of the carbon plate but because of the super foam. And if you pay attention, as I try to do, the price of the carbon shoes is not very much higher than ordinary shoes. If you don't buy them right when they come out. My 2 picks for small short intervals plus tempo runs. Adidas Adizero Takumi Sen 9. Definitely one of my favorite shoes. And if I hadn't hit my head I would definitely have tried to run a marathon in them. Because these are the shoes that remind me most of my old racing shoes. I know a lot of people wouldn't use them to run a marathon in. But which of these shoes would you rather use? Adidas Takumi Sen 9 has much more protection. Of course they wouldn't be my favorite shoe to run a marathon in today, even if I didn't have to think about my head, with all the options there are. But if I've had them 10 years ago they sure would be. My second choice is Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. Because in those shoes I have run the fastest 5 kilometers in 23. But it was probably mostly because I was so mad after trying for many hours to be a real YouTuber. Which didn't work out at all. This gorilla would be able to learn it faster than me. So even though Metaspeed Sky Plus is a good shoe, I'm pretty sure I'd also run okay fast in a pair of regular Nike Pegasus that day. I just needed to prove to myself that even though I'm not that good anymore, I'm still a little better than most average runners. I will stop this video now. Knowing that people quickly get tired of hearing my computer's voice. There will be a part 2 with my best recovery shoes plus trail, and finally my race day shoe. And last but not least the most disappointing shoe. Again, the criterion for getting on this list is that I must have bought the shoes in 23. Therefore, my all-time favorite running shoes are not on the list. Here are the results for my heart rate-based running test. I focus in this video on pure data. If you would like to know more about the shoes, then there are some shoe YouTubers out there who are much better at talking about shoes than I am. I'm not that good at English. So that's why this annoying computer voice. I have been running for over 30 years. So I have some experience. And although my English is bad, you are always welcome to write to me. I will answer as best I can. People who know me are aware that I pay attention to the smallest details, and especially regarding my training. I'll try not to get too geeky. But there are some things you need to know. I will only focus on the two most important things in my opinion in this video. I am in the process of making a large video where I go into the smallest detail about my running tests. I leave no stone unturned. So I simply need some more answers about running power. Before I can finish the video, I have tried to contact the dealer of Stryd, Next Gen Running Power, where I live. But they have not been able to help me with my questions. So I've contacted Stryd.com and I'm looking forward to their response. So I can finish my video. My tests have absolutely not 100% correct. But I try to get as close as I can. Feel free to ask questions about them. Then I will answer as best I can. I use a Techno Gym treadmill, which simulates running outside. It has almost no shock absorption. So the conditions are always the same. Plus 2 heart rate monitors so I know the data fits. Regardless of which test you do. You have to repeat it several times and I speak from pure experience. You need to make sure the data matches. Otherwise the test is completely useless in my world. Here is a small example of it. A few days ago I was out running on an outdoor track. Ran 1 kilometer between pace 3:06 and 3:30. Repeated it 10 times. I ran in a pair of Adidas Takumi Sen 8. The plan was to do some watt-based tests. Here you can see why I think Garmin's running power is not useful. The other important thing is when you do heart rate-based tests you do them right after each other. Here you can also see an example of the pulse varying between days, but not very much between the shoes when they are made right after each other. As I have said many times, I pay attention to the smallest details, which has given me some challenges when I've seen other YouTubers doing tests. But from now on I just concentrate on my own test. My plan in the future is just upload the data from the tests. So those of you who want to know more about how I make them can always just watch the video where I go into details about my way of testing, which will hopefully soon be finished. That way I can spend my time doing what I think is fun and get more videos published. And you don't have to hear me repeating the same thing all the time. Now for the test. Here you can see how many times I have run to do this test. However, it is important to say that not all the data is usable. Because of the 2 heart rate monitors I used did not show the same. I could talk a lot about this topic, but think you are tired of listening to me. So here is the result. It is important to mention that the last test 18.5 kilometers per hour was only performed once, so you should probably take the data with a grain of salt. I have done a lot of tests, but never before have I experienced that the result has been so close. I understand if you think about whether the result will be the same for all shoes. Here is the result for one of my other tests. The test is not quite as big, but I still think it is reasonably reliable. The result of this little test shows. The faster you run the more difference there is between the shoes. Please write to me if you have any questions. Thank you for watching my video.